or not, but every time we are married, we are handed over an in-law persona. It is a set of guides, a rule book of unsaid expectations that we females are supposed to follow. And in most cases, no one cares if this in-law persona is actually killing you or helping you. All they need is that this persona should be fulfilled. If you can't understand or don't agree with what I'm saying, then stick with me till the end of this video. And I bet that this video will alter your brain. Now, let's get back to the day I got married. On the day I got married, a relative pulled me aside and said, "We have loved how your mother-in-law always cooks whenever we visit, how available she always is, how she hosts everyone so beautifully. We will expect more from you." And I looked at her and I said, right there in front of everyone, there is no competition. My mother-in-law is a godly human being and I am too human to be like her. But rest assured, whenever you come, you will always be attended and fed, whether I'm cooking or not. As soon as I said this, everyone around me went dead quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. They did not expect me to respond back as a woman. And if you just cringed, laughed, felt terrified on my behalf and thought, oh, I could never say that, this video is for you. Because this is exactly how they hand over the in-law persona to you and why this in-law persona will swallow you whole if you're not careful. Now here's typically what happens when an Indian woman gets married. Before she has even unpacked her clothes, she's handed over a role. The role is not written down anywhere. The expectations are not said out loud in most cases. But if you are a married woman, you will agree with me that this persona is handed over to us through expectations, through comments, through the way that people look down at you when you do something that they didn't expect. And I have observed that that role is almost always modeled on the women who came before you, aka your mother-in-law. So if your mother-in-law wakes up at 5 a.m., you are expected to wake up at 5 a.m. If she cooked every meal from scratch, you are expected to cook every meal from scratch. If she never said no, you never say no. If she put herself last, you put yourself last. If she was quiet, you have to be quiet. And trust me, I can say this from experience that no one is going to say this out loud. These are just expectations which remain unsaid but are expected to be fulfilled. And because of that, in most cases, it feels like you're not joining a family. It feels like you're auditioning for a role and your lifetime performance has just begun based on your mother-in-law's role. Now let me tell you my specific version of this story. I was the first woman towards my in-law side of the family to build a business and work from home after marriage. The first one. And that made people curious. Not in an unkind, rude way, but genuinely curious. They would say and wonder, how would Twinkle manage? Could she really do this? And if she's doing this, what would this look like for family dynamics? And I get that. I get that curiosity. Because for generations, this template of what a daughter-in-law should be has been clear. And here I came, laptop in one hand, talking about building an agency, doing content creation, and building a studio office of my own. Now, before I go further, let me address something. Last time when I made a video on the subject of marriage, that video went viral. And some people in the comments assumed the worst. They thought that I am able to articulate all the pain points of married women because I'm angry and I'm not enjoying my life. And to answer that, with my joint hands, let me say this out loud. I am the luckiest daughter-in-law alive. I'm not kidding. I lucked out at finding a husband and my luck even banged on with my in-laws. No evil eye please. I just said it because I had to say it. But I want to tell you that even with all this luck, even when I discovered that I was lucky, I was feeling lost in this marriage. At least for a while because I was also having all these things into my mind that society has fed into us. But as usual, I bounced back. I always do. And truth be told, I can make such good videos about such pain points because I like to think of myself as an observer of life. I like to observe things. And with my skill and some talent, I can articulate better than most people. Maybe that's why whenever I'm talking about a topic, you can feel that emotion in me. But honestly guys, I'm never speaking from bitterness. I'm just speaking from experience, sometimes my own, sometimes borrowed from the society. And this is one of those topics which I think should be voiced out. So let's get back into the video. Now here's what identity loss looks like in real life. And I'll give my example here. I was going to bed at 1 a.m., waking up at 5 a.m. And no one asked me to do this. But I did it on my own because I needed those early hours before the household was up and running to do my own work. They were completing their full sleep cycle like normal human beings. And throughout the day, I found myself eating whatever would please others. It was not what my body needed, but I was just trying something I don't know. And I was just ignoring my health left, right and center. Now, as someone in creative field, I always knew the value of flow state. I know I can get my best work done in 3 to 4 hours of focused work. But I can do that only if my mind is fully rested and it is not carrying drama. But can you honestly avoid the chaos when you're trying to adjust in a new family? Not really, not in the beginning. So I was showing up at work half distracted, half exhausted, and half myself. 2-3 weeks into this behavior, and then I looked into the mirror and I thought, I cannot run on an empty cup for someone else's comfort. And especially when no one has asked me to. This is not who I am, and clearly this way of life cannot last. That was the moment that I caught myself performing a role that I never agreed to, that no one asked me to. And here's the bigger picture underneath all of this. The older generation of Indian families raised women who were homemakers. They were available 24/7, they were cooking, cleaning, hosting, raising kids, caring, and they were always keeping themselves last. And they were never prioritizing them. These women were extraordinary. I have huge respect for them. But those women, in most cases, were not building a business. They were not managing 9 to 5 job. They were not trying to grow something of their own. And as I always say, we are now in this cruel cusp where families want the modern woman who is educated, earning, capable, and independent, but they also want her to perform all the household roles that the non-working women before her perform. So that's why I say that you have a full-time job, and after that you have another part-time job which is taking care of your family. And from my observation, this does not end here. Somewhere between all of that, you are supposed to be a good wife, a good daughter-in-law, a good host, and ideally a better version of the woman who came before you. And when you try to become all of that, you forget who you actually are. I talk to women, okay? And I have seen women with better in-laws than mine, but these women don't show the courage to have a single honest conversation with anyone. They don't stand their ground. And since I've thought about this so much, I have only come to one conclusion. Most women do not know the ground on which they stand. And I want you to look me in the eye when I say this. If you are the woman who does not know what you stand for, you are actually standing on a muddy ground. You are getting yourself dirty, and then you are blaming everyone else around you without even giving them a real chance to understand you. You cannot blame people for not knowing you if you never truly showed who you are. So, here's how I want you to think about marriage. Try this on. Try this approach. Marriage is like switching jobs. Okay? Stay with me. If you have ever worked in a corporate, you know that when you get your first job, that company becomes your parent company. And in that company, you always get the cushion. You are forgiven for the mistakes you are making. You are always supported. You are just treated like a child. You will feel that, and you will agree with me on this, especially when you are working in an Indian environment. But think about what happens when you switch your job from your parent company to a new company. So in your previous company, your parents' home, you knew the culture, you knew the rules, you knew how you operated, and people knew you. When you switch jobs, aka your new family, you walk in as an experienced professional, a grown adult. You walk in into a new culture, new unwritten rules, new expectations. And just like any other job, it is natural that there will be an adjustment period. And in all fairness, you don't become a new person just to fit into a new company. Instead, what you do is you bring your skills, your working style, your personality on the table, and from the opposite end, you observe the culture, you adapt where it makes sense, and you stand your ground where it matters. So, yes, I'm saying that think of marriage as a project management. I know you are not the project that has to be worked on, the marriage is the project, and you are the project manager. Saying this on behalf of my experience and also on the experience of my friends to whom I've already explained this concept and they have implemented it into their life, this way of thinking works. Because when you start thinking of your marriage as a project, you take less things to your heart. You focus on what actually needs to be done and you give less fucks about the noise around you. And also, brownie points, you share more laughter because you stop treating every comment like a personal attack on your identity. So you laugh with your family members as you would laugh in a corporate with the members of your team. Guys, understand this. People are, well, people, and someone's got to manage them. Why not you? So, here's what I want you to take from this video. If you're a married woman, establish a ground. If you're not married, put all the efforts and all the free time that you have in your bachelor era to know the ground on which you stand. Know yourself clearly. Know what you can and cannot tolerate. Know what you can and cannot do. Because most women get swallowed by this in-law persona, not because their in-laws are terrible, but because they don't know themselves clearly enough to protect who they are. And that is the biggest problem. Know what you need. Know what makes you function, know what you can and cannot do for the rest of your life, and then communicate it early with openness and without fucking apology. All I'm asking you is give your new family a chance to understand you before you blame them for not understanding you. And I'm not saying that if you try this approach, your life is all gonna become rosy. Some people are truly evil to live with, and I'm not catering to them. All I'm addressing is what you can do to make your life better. Whatever happens then happens. Leave it to the universe. Sometimes your in-laws are not trying to overpower you. They are simply working with the only way of life that they know. So then it becomes your responsibility as a part of that family to show them a new way of life. That's what I did, clearly. And it sparked a weird debate at first. It made people uncomfortable. But the younger generation of my family fell in love with it, and the older generation slowly and genuinely understood. So, girls, please, for the love of God, stop performing the persona that was handed to you. Because the longer you're going to perform it, the more it becomes expected. And one day you will resent them for expecting the very thing you trained them to expect. In case no one has told this to you, you are allowed to be yourself. The chaotic, ambitious, real, opinionated, too emotional, too much, too loud, fully human version of yourself. But for your new family to accept that, you have to accept it first. You have to understand who your honest self is. Because if you cannot bring your honest self into your new family, you haven't really joined a family. So, girls, my brainy baddies, share this with all the women that you know. And if you are new here, I'm on a very simple mission to make women become multidimensional so that they don't have to pick between personal and professional life and they can build their life together. That's what my content is all about. If that interests you, make sure to subscribe and I'll see you next week.